Hey, it's me, that one nerdy girl that stayed up way too late last night reading fanfiction. Now, I've been to quite a few conventions, and when you're with a group of people that's dressed as fictional characters, some interesting things are bound to happen. So I decided to share with you today my favorite and least favorite convention stories. So this first one took place at Anime Expo, I think it was, like maybe 2 years ago. And my friend and I were walking around, and we saw this girl, a short girl, dressed as Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist. Of course, me being a Full Metal Alchemist fan, I had to go over and just be like, "Hey, shorty!" To which this girl perfectly responds with, "Who are you calling short?" So we're sitting there laughing about this, and then this other guy decides to join in, saying, "Oh, we're calling you short, you shrimp." But before this Edward can respond and get angry again, this other girl comes over, stands over her, looks down, and says, "Nah, I think he looks more like a bean sprout." Which led to the greatest Edward Elric cosplay moment of all time, where this little blonde Edward Elric, is sitting there jumping up and down and screaming, "I am not a bean sprout!" Needless to say, everyone around us was laughing and applauding by the time it was done. This next one was at a little convention called ACE, like Art and Creative Expo or something like that. And I was there dressed as Titan Aaron. Let me put up a picture of that for you. So I'm there dressed as Titan Aaron, and I'm just kind of walking around. All of a sudden, I hear this high-pitched, "Titan!" I turn around, and there is a Hanji cosplayer running towards me with her arms open. Now, of course, she pauses right before she hugs me and asks, like, "Is it okay if I hug you, or it's not going to damage your cosplay?" I was like, no, go ahead. So she just hugs the crap out of me while everyone around us is taking pictures. It was definitely one of the greatest moments of the day. Another one of my, favorites, not really a story, but more of just a convention in general, was Anime Kanji 2015, maybe. I had hosted a Kingdom Hearts gathering, and I had this whole group show up. And at first it wasn't very many people, and so we started walking around, and we slowly gathered more and more people, and we hung out, did photo shoots. It was a blast, and in all honesty, I would love to do more gatherings in the future, just based on how much fun that one was. Now, I could go on and on about all of the great cosplayers I've met over my 3 years of cosplay experience, but I think I'm also going to tell you about a bad experience I had and how you can help prevent future experiences like that from happening to anyone else. So this happened at the same Anime Expo as the previous Edward Elric story, and we had just gotten there, and I saw this really cool looking Inuyasha, and I had just finished watching Inuyasha, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get this guy's picture." Now, if you've ever tried taking someone's picture at a convention, you know you have to basically chase them down while yelling their character's name until they notice you. So I did this. I ran over, I'm like, "Hey, Inuyasha! Inuyasha, hey!" And the guy was getting closer, so I was like, "Oh, hey, can I take your picture?" And he just straight up ignores me and walks right past me, like, "Okay, I'm sorry, maybe he's busy." That is, until I saw, a few minutes later, this little boy had run up to him and was asking for his picture, and the guy was straight up ignoring him as well. Now, you could probably make the argument that the guy had a rough day, who was, looking for somebody or something like that, but let me give you an example of the way this should have happened. Earlier, I had seen a Soul cosplayer from Soul Eater. He looked really cool, and I was like, "Hey, can I take your picture?" And he paused for a second, but he said, "I'm sorry, I need to go. I have a panel I need to get to." And I totally understood. I was like, "Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bother you." That is what you need to do if you are busy and someone wants to take your picture. Straight up ignoring them is just rude. And even later on in our group, we had this girl dressed as Doll from Black Butler Book of Circus, and she looked gorgeous, so everyone wanted to take her picture, but we were in the middle of trying to discuss what we were going to be doing later and stuff. So instead of just straight up ignoring people asking for her picture, she just told them, "Hey, could you wait a few minutes? We're trying to discuss something here." And they totally understood. They waited, and then by the time we were done talking, she had to pose for 5 minutes because everyone wanted her picture. So even if you don't really get anything out of this video, it's just a couple dumb stories to listen to, at least get this, that be polite to people when you're in cosplay, because you have to remember, you're not yourself. You are this other character. People see this character, and so be polite. Just Don't be a rude person. Yeah. So that's really all for today's video. I know it wasn't, you know, as long as most of mine, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little insight on, you know, my cosplay life and some of my favorite cosplay experiences that I've had, and, you know, a little lesson on politeness while in cosplay. So, with that said, I guess I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye! Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go take a nap.